people find that power within themselves to make change in their life. Basic things. The first was that money cannot buy happiness. And the second was that if you inside are not happy, no matter what is outside, how much money you have, it doesn't make a difference. Different people coming together, making magic happen. My passion was always to help people do work that was meaningful and in an environment which was conducive to help them be their best self. So, hi everyone. I am from Mumbai, and I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I then went to the UK to study, and I spent around 10, 11 years in the UK. Then I went to the US for my MBA, and after all that, I came to Sri Lanka, where I started my first entrepreneurial venture called HomeTree Coworking. So, if I was to answer the question of who Semal Bodh Mastani is, I feel I am passionate to make a change. I feel like that's something that's always defined me. And I really believe that we can ignite change from the inside out. And so a lot of the initiatives that I have is around helping people find that power within themselves to make change in their life. So I think I first came across the concept of co-working maybe around 10 years back. And for me, like I'm someone who's very passionate about making a difference. And around that time when I first went into the world of work, I went in as a passionate individual wanting to make a change. But what I saw happening around me and what also happened for me was very soon you get bogged down into the company culture, into the monotony of the job, and then you literally just start living for the weekends, and the work becomes this dreadful thing that you have to do to run your life. And I saw like a lot of very smart people around me being very disengaged with their work. And so for me, my passion was always to help people do work that was meaningful and in an environment which was conducive to help them be their best self. And so when I had the opportunity to come to Sri Lanka and do my own business, it definitely had to be a place where there was new thinking, there was creativity, there was co-creation, but also with this understanding of mindfulness and self-awareness. The whole idea behind me bringing HomeTree here was that I wanted to promote the ideas of self-awareness in leadership, because what I see even happening today is that company culture is, high stress. So basically, like I've always been a hard worker. I worked really hard, and very early on, I realized that I had to work to make a living. And I was always very passionate about spirituality and personal growth. So from the age of 15, I started reading self-help books. And why I started doing that was because I saw a lot of hypocrisy. I went through a lot of difficulty early on in my life. And through that, I had figured out some basic things. The first was that money cannot buy happiness. And the second was that if you inside are not happy, no matter what is outside, how much money you have, it doesn't make a difference. So it really started making me question all these things early on. And I got interested in personal growth, self-help from a very early age. That was my personal passion, but I also knew that to make it in the world, I had to be successful, I had to work hard, and I had to do a job. So so basically, fast forward, by the age of 22, I was a consultant in London. So I had kind of met my dream job. I was earning good money, and I had kind of ticked a lot of the boxes that I had set out for myself. But I still was really unhappy with the work that I was doing. Like, say, by the age of 25, I was feeling really unfulfilled at work because the work did not have much meaning behind it. And also, when you looked into the companies, what you saw was that everything is around profit maximization, and there's no heart in the way that we work together. And I saw people around me being, working 12, 13 hours a day, I saw also some really smart people really disengaged at work. So everyone is just basically living for the weekend. And I just felt like this was a huge wastage of human potential. And so basically, there was this one day where I was like, I took a week off work and I was really thinking to myself, if I could do anything in the world, what would it be? And when I really thought about that question, the answer that came to me was that um, I wanted to bring consciousness into the world of work. Now, why did I want to bring consciousness into the world of work? Because I felt like if leaders of organizations were more conscious about the impact that they have on themselves and the people around them, then it will have a ripple effect, because every leader, he not only impacts the people in his team, but he also has an impact on the families and on community at large. Even what a leader is creating is having an impact. Is what they're creating playing on the insecurity of the customer, or is it actually empowering the customer? In that way, we as leaders have a lot of power. And my thinking was that if I could help leaders to lead more conscious lives for themselves, but also in their businesses, then that will have a ripple effect into the societies. And today, what we see is high burnout, high anxiety, all these things which come from toxic cultures, and also they come from valuing the wrong things. So I really wanted to make a change in that. And then so my answer to this question of if I could do anything in the world, what would it be? It was to reinvent the way we work by bringing more consciousness into the way we work. So that was the vision. And then life happened. And to make that vision come alive, my first idea was to get an MBA. So I went to the US to get an MBA. And my whole idea was to work at a Silicon Valley startup focused on mindfulness and kind of hit that goal that way. But then life happened, and I met my partner, my husband now, who's a Sri Lankan. And then we had, there was this talk of coming in, settling in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was a conquered country. I had never lived in. I didn't know the language. I visited it once, but I loved the country. And so when I had the opportunity to come and start something in Sri Lanka, I really wanted to bring all these different passions of these different things together. So HomeTree really started as a place where, like, it was Sri Lanka's first co-working space that brought mindfulness into the way we work. And that was the ethos. So even if you look at the way HomeTree is designed, there are a lot of nature-based themes on the different floors. And right from the start, we offered sessions on meditation, on self-awareness, yoga, all of that, to just help people, get that different side into their work life. So I started HomeTree with this big vision of bringing mindfulness into the way we work. But when I started talking about mindfulness and doing a lot of different mindfulness-based events, what I heard a lot from people was that this is all fluffy stuff. Like, it doesn't really work, and we need to do something which actually hits the numbers, which makes us go further in life. So what I got a lot was that we don't really believe in all this mindfulness. Like, it's very good, but it doesn't really work in the real world. And so when I heard a lot of that, I decided to actually create a platform where I could bring in change makers who had changed their life from the inside out, and they talked about how their own inner transformation process and helped them completely change their life. So I had first person who came on the show was Gaia Koditawako, who was suicidal depressive at a point. She was homeless at a time in Sydney, and she talked about her journey of becoming someone who was homeless and suicidal depressive and a drug addict to now, transforming the lives of millions of women around the world. She's a fitness coach, but also a mentor and a mindfulness coach. So she talked about her journey, and like that, then I went and I found these stories from different people in Sri Lanka, and we are talking about their inner transformation journey. So Inner Reset really started as a way to talk about stories of inner transformation, to show young people that this can happen and you can make the change in your life from the inside out. Uh, then following on from that, last year through the inner reset, we started offering a whole range of inner transformation experiences. So I lead a lot of workshops where we actually look at different things, even our inner self-talk, and how does that impact how we show up in the world, how much potential we reach, how successful we are in our jobs. So although yes, maybe 5, 10, 15 years back, a lot of these concepts may have been or may have been very fluffy, but now there's a lot more scientific backing towards them. And so a lot of the initiatives, so we also do retreats. I also am a certified deep transformation coach. All of that is backed by science, backed by research, and it's really about helping each one of us be our highest potential, be the highest creative expression of ourselves. Because something I believe is that we are all born with so much potential. But as we go in the world, as we start working and, the monotony of our jobs and all, we believe lesser and lesser in our own power. And all this work is about helping you bring your... But for me, really, what makes me wake up in the morning is to help people ignite change from within, because I feel like that is us taking our power back. And for me, it is one person at a time. It's one conversation at a time. I don't work with big numbers. I just feel like when your heart is in the right place, everything aligns to support you on that journey. And often you don't know what it's going to look like. We worry ourselves thinking like it should, phase 1 needs to be here at this deadline, it needs to go in this chronological order, but life happens differently. So for me, in the present moment, it is just showing up where I'm needed and offering what I can at that space. Starting my own business was really scary, especially because I was in a completely new culture. Before that, I had worked in the UK, so I had never worked in Sri Lanka. I don't know the language. I definitely got cheated. I definitely made mistakes. All of that happened. I won't say that it was easy, but it helped me grow. It helped me be the person I am today. And I learned a lot from the whole process. I met some amazing people. I've co-created with amazing people, co-created with my team. So I would say that yes, starting a business is a challenging endeavor, but when your heart is in the right place, when you know why you're doing what you're doing, it takes you forward and then it helps you grow. At the end of it, all of life is a learning experience, and with each experience, we can grow and transform if we choose. The advice I would offer to someone starting up is, find joy in what you're doing. Definitely, even when you run a business, there are a lot of things of the business that you don't enjoy. But as long as, though your why is strong, why you're doing what you're doing, you're clear about that, it will take you through. Obviously, all of us go through failures. I've gone through many failures, and many things that I thought would be like a rocking success did not hit anywhere close to that. But I use each experience as a stepping stone, and I'm constantly growing. And I think the most exciting thing about doing your own business is that you get to make your unique mark in the world. You get to create your own, picture or your own masterpiece, or make your own unique contribution to the world in a way that is very you. So work life is a very good question. I have a whole course on productivity and work life. The main thing, the basics is even the way we actually work is not great, because we are in this hyper connected, super distracted world. So, we have things going on every 5 minutes, and just the way, if you understand how productivity works, you'll understand that for your mind to work at its peak, it needs to concentrate on one task for at least 20 minutes. Now, in the workplace today, you may be able to get that. So I think work-life balance can be achieved very easily when you understand a few simple things about productivity science and change the way you work to enable you to have big chunks of focused work, and then different times of the day where you can be checking your emails or having your meetings. In that way, you can get more done in less time and also keep your work-life balance intact. The other thing I want to mention is that, like, right from childhood, we have been trained that our worth depends on our work. And so a lot of us almost kill our health to be successful at work. And that is not sustainable, but that is also not productive. So, Robin Sharma, who's a big performance mentor or guru, he would say that even like top athletes, they will train for 5 hours and then they will rest for 5 hours. And that is because to show up the next day, to show up in the best way you can, you need to be able to rest. Otherwise, you cannot show up the next day and be fully present and do your best work if you've not rested enough. So work-life balance is essential not only for your health, but also for the work that you want to do. So it's all interconnected. So I think the role model I've always had is Oprah Winfrey. And she gave this amazing talk at Stanford Business School where she talked a lot about how her whole life is fueled by who she is on the inside. And I quote a lot of her work in my workshops. And why Oprah Winfrey is a role model is because I actually spent some time in the US. And what I found in the US was that the US is a very sexist country. Like they have a sexism bias, but it's also very racist, which we all know. And being a woman and being Black, being where she is right now, is no short feat. And she really had to do it by really, all this work of inner transformation, by learning and going through everything that she went through. And she had a very difficult life. So for me, she's really inspiring because despite the fact that her grandparents were slaves, that she was born in a racist country, that she was a woman where women were not respected, she didn't let any of that deter her. In fact, all of that became fuel for the work that she does in the world. And she is one of the biggest Black philanthropists, one of the most influential women. And her work is really about what she truly believes in. And what she also says is that like, everything she does is fueled by who she is and what she believes her contribution to this world is. So there's one more person who I feel is someone I really admire, and that's Nelson Mandela. I feel like he is one of the most inspiring leaders we have in the world. And I actually had gone to South Africa where I studied a lot about what apartheid was. And apartheid was actually created by psychologists. It was created by people who really understood a lot about how the human mind works. And the whole start of the apartheid was about making one race feel superior and another race feel inferior. So even when apartheid was, when the first revolutionaries in the apartheid, who were trying to end the apartheid, they were actually kind of trying to empower the Black man, to make the Black man think that he is equal to the white man, because even at the level of thought, they didn't believe that they were at the same level. And someone like Nelson Mandela, having witnessed all that had happened in his country, to his people, and to himself, 27 years or something he spent in jail. When he came out and he became a leader, he did not take revenge. He did not ostracize the white community, but there's this amazing film called Invictus where he actually he made the white community feel welcome in the new South Africa. And that takes a leader with a lot of wisdom, to know what is right for the country, to know what is right for the world, to leave your personal pain, your personal agenda aside and do what is right for the collective. So that's why I'm very inspired by Nelson Mandela. And also I want to say that So this is something I also talk about in my workshops. A lot of the inspiring people that you find in the world today, like they have been through a lot of hardship, like Oprah Winfrey, like, her parents weren't even married when they had her, and, she was abused in childhood. Nelson Mandela, 27 years in jail. So, like, one of the big messages I have is that we in the world today, we run away from pain, we run away from challenge, we run away from anything that feels difficult, and we run towards security. But what you see is that life is full of change, life is full of challenge, because that is how we grow. And the rarest of diamonds in the world today, like, Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, like they were formed through pain, through hardship. So what we need to learn is how do we become resilient to the challenges that life throws, on our road, understanding that these are here to help us grow. Instead of running away, how do we learn to work with them? How do we thrive through them? That is like my big message. So with the Inner Reset platform, we are moving forward with different kind of offerings, from retreats to workshops to online experiences to also coaching. So we are expanding our offerings in that way. And the mission behind that is to empower people to create change from inside. Because what I've realized is that when you learn how to do that, um, you become invincible and you're not dependent on the outside changing. You know how to create change from within you. So that is what is the future plans for Inner Reset. And for HomeTree, we are going to be creating an amazing space called Co-Create Colombo on our rooftop. And the whole idea behind that space is to really encourage co-creation, different people coming together, making magic happen. So I am Semal Bodh Mastani, and you can find me at The Inner Reset on Instagram. Also, HomeTree Coworking is on Instagram. You can also find me on LinkedIn with my name, Semal Bodh Mastani.